So here's the truth that no one is telling you. Burnout doesn't happen because you're just doing everything. It happens because you're doing all the things without any boundaries. So that's why every ambitious woman and boss babe that I coach gets one of these. This is a self care kit especially designed for women who lead, need a break, and never take one. So let me take a few moments to get to the crux of why self care isn't just soft or silly or selfish, but it's strategic and it is the foundation for everything you're trying to achieve, from getting a promotion to sticking up for yourself when you haven't been, from experiencing bliss and designing a life that allows you to use your gifts and talents every day without sacrifice. One thing I really need you to get is that self care for high achieving women is going to look very different. Different from when you were in your 20s, different from when you had less of a workload and when you had less people that you're touching. Self care for my boss babes is not just about sleep and relaxation, but it's about pouring back out and to balance all that you give out. This kind of self care is strategically focused on sustaining your high performance, resilience, and clarity. If you keep running on fumes, all of those things are in jeopardy. And you can only last so long on your expertise, and you can only last so long on your grit and getting by before you just start to break down. And then you're not useful for anybody, especially future you. It's not just a luxury, it's not just an opportunity to take a vacay, but we're trying to stop you from crashing out. Strategically focused self care reinforces your boundaries, and it is a consistent renewal of your mental and your physical resources. Your self care is not indulgence. Instead, it's a critical element of your long term success strategy, as well as the success of every key stakeholder and business that you touch. Before we dive into each element of your self care kit, let me just first chat about the strategic power of self care. The goal of it is for you to be optimized emotionally, mentally, and physically. Mentally, what it does for you is that it sharpens your clarity and your focus. Physically, it obviously gives you the energy to be able to run laps around the problems that you face. Emotionally, it fortifies your resilience as well as your EQ, otherwise known as your emotional intelligence. You need all three of these to be in sync in order to show up as your absolute best self, no matter what is happening around you. The kit has three themes. One is to relax and to indulge. I am essentially giving you 1 hour of bliss to yourself, in which there's a QR code that you scan to put this hour on your calendar for accountability. And if you find that you can't even scan a QR code to schedule an hour for yourself in the next 30 days, that means you are so low on capacity that even you aren't a priority. And you can't keep doing that, sis. The next theme is to release. This can be pent up energy, anger, anxiety, or honestly, some ideas that kind of come to your head and then they leave as soon as they come because you didn't give yourself a moment to sit down and write them out. I don't know about you, but some of my best ideas have either come in the shower or when I am intentionally sitting down to be quiet, not touching, engaging, achieving, or trying to escape the reality of the stress in my current circumstance. And then the last theme is to replenish. So after we have set the mood to relax ourselves, after we have released, we got to pour back into us. So there are a couple items in the box that will allow you to do just that. So here's a little quick peek of everything that you'll find in the box that I just described for you to relax and indulge, for you to release, and then to replenish. So also you'll see these QR codes on the top. That's for you to add this to your calendar. And then there's a little coaching video in there for me where I'm giving you journal prompts. As there is a journal and a nice soft touch pen in the box. You'll see a cookie that'll be part of your indulgence. There's also homemade items in here. So things that I've touched and put together, put my heart in it so that you can feel love on the other side of it. So there is a homemade candle, homemade lip balm, and a homemade lotion. There's also a couple items in here that you can engage with that will physically release tension and stress during this hour. So, reminder, this is called that Boss Babe Bliss Box, and I'm giving you an hour of bliss. Why am I even doing this? It's because I hit a wall more than once, and it was really painful to get back up, and it delayed me reaching my goals and my milestones. And it wasn't until I hit such a wall that physically my body started breaking down and mentally my mind was doing things that didn't even make sense. That's when I started to take self-care seriously. I used to think I could get to self-care after I achieve all the things, after I meet the goals, after I get over the humps, then I can relax. That's not how it goes. We have to sleep every day. Our bodies were created to sleep because it needs to replenish. Moving across the country from Chicago to Idaho, I just hit the ground running and I never stopped running. And it just got to the point where I lost myself and sense of self. And it made it harder to discern when to advocate for myself, when to advocate for things. It also made my boundaries very loose. It's easy to have loose boundaries when you are exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of the things. So I had no choice. I had to stop and prioritize self care if I wanted to achieve the visions that I had written down and the visions I've seen and created in my head of a life that is blissful that I wanted to lead. So this isn't coming from nowhere. It's coming from a place of recovery. And for all my perfectionists out there, I have a video about that, about being a recovering perfectionist. And that has helped me to live a lifestyle of flow, care, and prioritizing myself without feeling guilty or selfish. Back to you, boss babe. Let this video serve as a sign for you to prioritize self care unapologetically. Remember, self care isn't soft or silly or selfish, it's strength, it's strategic, and it's very necessary to your success. Comment below and tell me if you've hit that wall or if you feel like you're on the way to burnout and the next step that you're going to take to prevent that. Also, if this video has inspired you, send it to some other boss babes as a reminder and as a key stopping point to change direction so that they can be their very best self and experience bliss on an ongoing basis. All right, thanks for hanging with me, and I will see you in the next video.